because there is not a piece of land on this earth that is not a minute away from a terrorist attack by ISIS and the followers of ISIS. I tell you, whether you're in Mombasa now, you're a minute away from a terrorist attack. London is a minute away from a terrorist attack. New York is a minute away from a terrorist attack, because they have managed to infiltrate the literature of the mosques with the ideologues of ISIS. Take me to any mosque in Mombasa and I will show you the names of the ideologues in ISIS have already been put in the cabinets of the mosques, without our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah realizing that one by one their books are being covered with ISIS ideologues. Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, Ibn al-Jawzi, Muhammad bin al-Wahhab, all of them, they're ideologues of ISIS. The thoughts of ISIS, you'll find them in the mosques of our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah. When children are being brought up with that rhetoric, and when lecturers are lecturing saying Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah bless his soul, Shaykh Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, may Allah bless his soul, when they say Shaykh Muhammad bin al-Wahhab, may Allah bless his soul, then I tell you, this piece of land that you're in and the whole of Kenya is 1 minute away from a terrorist attack. You already know on whose borders they're sitting. You already know that in East Africa and in West Africa, ISIS is growing, and ISIS will not die easily, that I can assure you, because it is penetrating everywhere. And unless the Sunni world is aware, then do not be surprised that that friend of yours, when they're not religious, you're safe from them. Let them get religious and you're in big trouble. Yes? That's number two. Number three, when you discuss ISIS, why? The third reason you discuss ISIS is you can have an understanding of the theological and legal edicts. Don't think that our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah, the ideologues of their school, have not given edicts about the killing of Shia. There have been many edicts, and therefore ISIS is nothing new. It is just the world of Ahlul Sunnah at its most radical and most complete. I don't mean to say that in any way as an insult to any of my brethren who are listening. I'm talking about literature and the ideologues. Our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah, in their books, what's happening with ISIS is not surprising at all. If a Sunni is allowed to read his literature properly, if he's allowed to read Ibn Taymiyyah's Minhaj al-Sunnah, if he's allowed to read Muhammad bin al-Wahhab's The Red on the Rafidah, if he's allowed to read Ibn al-Jawzi and the Talbis of Iblis on the Shia, if he's allowed to read, for example, Ibn al-Arabi al-Makki and his opinion that don't debate the Shia, it's easier to use the sword against them. If they're allowed to see all of this, then believe me, children will be brought up from our brothers who can't wait to decapitate or to cut our bodies into pieces, whether they are our arms or whether they are our heads. Many of our Sunni brethren do not know any of this, by the way. Many of them, you will find, do not know that many of their greatest ulama have got edicts which say, kill the Shi'i. We're lucky, by the way, to be called by their ulama Shi'i. Normally it's kill the Rawafid, yes? But there is one country where there is no difference between it and ISIS, and that is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the root of ISIS. If Saudi Arabia tells you it has a problem with ISIS, what's the problem? You have a problem with executions, you execute. Beheadings, you behead. Anti-Shia, you're anti-Shia. Anti-Christian, you're anti-Christian. Plurality of opinion, you've got a problem when it comes to plurality of opinions. When Saudi Arabia gives you the rhetoric that it's against ISIS, it's the biggest load of nonsense politically in this world. Saudi Arabia has absolutely no problem with ISIS whatsoever. Saudi Arabia's only problem is that the call for caliphate within ISIS means there's a threat to their leadership. Otherwise, the vision of ISIS is the vision of Saudi. The complete destruction of Shi'ism, the complete destruction of Christianity, the complete killing of those who go towards the graves, the killing of those who believe in intercession, and further than that, execution and beheading is something normal. If you look at the rhetoric of ISIS and the rhetoric of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, the ideologue of the Wahhabi school in Saudi Arabia, there is absolutely no difference between the rhetoric of ISIS and the rhetoric of the Wahhabis. And I, by the way, I'm calling them Wahhabis. They don't like to be called Wahhabis. They like to be called Salafis, yes? The Sunni world is in absolute disarray at the moment. A Sunni today does not know whether to call themselves Sunni, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Wahhabi, Salafi, Salafi conservative, Salafi liberal, Deobandi, Ahmadi, Brelwi. They don't know whether to call themselves Hanafi, Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi'i, Ash'arite, Ash'arite, Sufi, Ash'arite, Hanafi, Mu'tazilite, Shafi'i. There are so many names today, Ahl Sunnah doesn't know who to turn to. And even for their authority figures, they're in complete disarray. One indoctrinating message. The scholars of Ahl Sunnah are throwing Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim and Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab's books everywhere. Saudi Arabia has pumped billions into ISIS and the war in Iraq. Saudi Arabia, since Zia ul-Haq in Pakistan, has pumped so much money into destroying Shia in Pakistan. Saudi Arabia sent soldiers to attack Shia of Bahrain. Saudi Arabia and Qatar is the whole reason there's a war in Syria. And they kept on saying, why doesn't so-and-so have democracy? Why? Do you have democracy in Saudi Arabia for you to tell the world about democracy? And it's high time the non-Muslim world knew the biggest problem is the country with the best oil. Make a decision. You can't turn around and have it both ways. Either diplomatic relations are cut, or do not be surprised if there isn't another terrorist bomb in this part of the world. America, Europe, Africa, young Sunni kids are being brought up on Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim. The days where Abu Hanifa could sit in Imam al-Sadiq's class, or the days when Malik could sit in Imam al-Sadiq's class, the days when Sufyan al-Thawri and the others who were scholars of that period could sit with Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq, the days when the book Al-Muraja'at could be written, where the ulama of Najaf and ulama al-Azhar could write letters to each other with respect, the days where Sheikh Mahmoud Shaltut, head of al-Azhar, said the Ja'fari school is the 5th school of fiqh in Islam, those days are dying one by one. There are only a few of Ahl Sunnah who come out sincerely. And even those who come out and say the Shia should not be killed, the next lecture they give, Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah bless his soul. You just said the Shia shouldn't be killed. Why are you praising Ibn Taymiyyah? Shaykh Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah bless his soul. Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah bless his soul. Okay, you just said the Shia shouldn't be killed in Iraq. You're praising the Sheikhs who've got books saying kill the Shia. And that's why the Sunni world is in absolute chaos. The Saudi royal family does one thing, which means they are unstoppable. They fund university departments in the world, giving them big money. 20 million Harvard, 20 million Georgetown, 20 million Oxford, 20 million Cambridge, 20 million Princeton, 20 million Yale. These are the think tanks of the earth. When you fund them, that means academics write books. You know, there's one writer who wrote a whole book praising Muawiyah as the savior of the Khalif of Islam. And that's why, what do you find? Many of Ahl Sunnah say, we don't agree with Abu Bakr Baghdadi and ISIS. You say to them, why? They say, because that's not real Khilafah. So hold on. Your problem is Abu Bakr Baghdadi's oppressive ways, or your problem is that his Khilafah is not the real Khilafah? Therefore, those who are saying they're anti-ISIS, don't fall for this whole idea that it's because ISIS is bad. No, it's just ISIS's conception of Khilafah is something they don't agree with. If they were given a chance to have a Khilafah, they would come back. And what's the problem? You have to come back with the legal edicts, and then you're in trouble.